Hello, crypto people. Joey here from the Chart Guys. I've been trading for 7 years, learning under Dan at the Chart Guys for 6 of them, and I'm here to talk about some crypto. But before we get into the crypto, I'm going to talk about the broad market here because we've got a big old dump going on right now on the NASDAQ, S&P 500, whole broad market at this point. So I'm I've been trying to wrangle a bounce here. Few low risk attempts have stopped out. Would like to give it one more go. So if you can bear with me for a moment before we get into the crypto stuff, just basically looking for a slight shift, then marketing in with a close stop. So that's enough for me. I'm in. I got to stop below the low and looking to see if bulls can get something legitimate going. I mean, this is going to be my fourth attempt at it. I'm still within my risk tolerance for the day, so I'm fine to continue taking some shots as oversold bounces are my specialty. But if this one here stops out, then we'll just let it be. Feel like we can get back to 1 minute 12 EMA. Let's see, I'm in at 18,277, basically 18,278. So I suppose I could be risk-free about now, but I mean, what I'm looking for is a solid spring back up. Not looking for a 1 minute bounce. I'm looking for like a 5 minute bounce to 12 EMA or something. So if I was being more protective, I would be out half now to have this be risk-free, but I don't know if it's because I've already taken some losses on this that it's making me want to hold for longer and not take the risk free. I'll have to reflect on that after the fact. But it's kind of one of those general high risk, high reward scenarios. And in that scenario, oftentimes I'm down with the risk and willing to kind of go for something a little bit bigger. So we'll see here. We're now right back to my break even. And I'd look to take half at the 1 minute 12 EMA if we can get there. If not, I will stop out and we will talk about some Bitcoin. What bulls like to see is that Bitcoin is not really feeling any of this broad market weakness. In fact, it was going borderline inverse at certain points here. So I don't know if there's some geopolitical stuff going on because we also have oil pumping. If we look at oil, oh man, my trading view is slogging out now. We have oil confirming a quick daily bull flag and seeing big time upside as we've got this broad market big time downside. So certainly notable, and we're right back down to the lows of the other day in the broad market, and Bitcoin bulls are pleased to be up where they are at this point. So let's check back in on this NQ. We'll kind of duel this a little bit. Bear with me as we pop around. Looks like we got bulls defending the lows. So 18,322 would be the take half I'm looking for. I'll put in my ask right now. So if we pop up there, I can get a fill. Looks like that came down a little bit. So I actually do have it a little bit below it. So we'll just see if we can't get risk-free on this and then, maybe 5 minute 12 EMA, take some more partial profit, and then see if bulls can get a 15-minute bounce underway. But yeah, definitely big time downside in the broad market. So I'll keep an eye on this out of the corner of my eye, and let's talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, we know we've got this 3-day tightening range, and bulls certainly looking like they're shaping up a 3-day higher low. It's not technically set because we have to break the high of the previous 3-hour candle to get that done. So can't do that at this point, considering that high is the high of the move. But like in the daily, for some clarity, key resistance up here is going to be 71,769. And we've got a 4-hour uptrend as our guide for this daily move. So anything over 65,064 going to be a 4-hour higher low. Next consolidation. And in the short term, we've got 15-minute 12 EMA that we are riding here. And that's about that. So anything over 67,721 going to be a 15-minute higher low. If bulls hold the 12 EMA, that's perfectly healthy. And the comparison of what we have going on in relation to the broad market is definitely notable. Again, we'll click through SPY. When that's going on in the broad market and you're not even phased on Bitcoin, that is impressive. Let's go back to this NQ here and see. All right, we're basically at the 1 minute 12 EMA. Let me walk down my ask a little bit. Okay, I got filled. So got to adjust my stop now, and we'll just let that be at this point. Let me see what I'm working with. Yeah, double check my orders, make sure I'm not getting distracted here, and let's set some alerts. If we get to 5 minute 12 EMA, I would take off the majority of what I have left. So I'll set an alert there for the 5 minute 12 EMA, and if you don't know how to do that, if you right click and hit add alert, switch it from price to your EMA indicator, and then that adds an alert on when price touches that EMA. So at this point, NQ Bulls trying to get over 1 minute 12 EMA for the first time in a while. Going to need a 1 minute uptrend if this thing is going to shift at all. So we'll see how that goes. But back to Bitcoin. Let's see in the short term. Actually, let me get back to the YouTube. See if anybody's saying anything. All right. Yeah, it's pretty quiet stream. Pretty quiet stream. So what do we have in the short term on Bitcoin? I guess a 2 minute downtrend for this 15 minute consolidation. 2 minute downtrend bull's going to need to regain a 2 minute uptrend to try to shape up a 15 minute higher low. And that is that. So to kind of touch on something that Trend, a trader at the Chart Guys, and one of the absolute best traders at the Chart Guys, did an interview with him and Devin maybe a month ago. If you go to our YouTube channel, it's like, what is that interview called? Like the tale of two 7-figure traders or something like that. And Trend is one of those traders. He's an absolute beast. Did very well in 2021. And he has been looking for rotation into the alt space. He's positioned pretty aggressively for it, looking for that. And we haven't really seen that. You know, if we look at Bitcoin dominance, it's still just kind of sideways here. We're just now getting a breakout for Bitcoin, but that's showing us that Bitcoin remains stronger than the alts. So typically when you get a sideways Bitcoin range, you want to see Bitcoin dominance drop and that money rotate into the alts. And something pretty sweet that we've got here at the Chart Guys that we do on Wednesdays and Fridays is we've got a full-time traders channel. And we hop on a call here on Wednesdays and Fridays and just chat a little more casually about the markets, our journeys, our struggles, and this and that. You know, you can see folks stay on here for a long time. That's 6 hours and 49 minutes after the market closes. But we were chatting with Trend on there, and he kind of brought up this thesis that perhaps we are seeing rotation in the crypto space right now, but it's not the standard Bitcoin into altcoins that we're seeing. It is potentially Bitcoin into these low cap meme coins. And I'll bring back over the chat room here because we added a room maybe a week ago. And this is where all of the degenerates are playing these coins on like Base Exchange. And I know there's Degen Exchange now and Solana Exchange. And what started as like super low market cap, low volume names has turned into big market caps and big volume. It's not just peanuts on here anymore. It's real traders making real money in this space. So we've got tons of experienced members. Ryzen absolutely beasted the NFT cycle in 2021. And, you know, that brings up another point here that these coins could, the way I'm seeing them is it's kind of like the ICOs from the 2017 cycle, and then the NFTs from the 2021 cycle. And then now we've got these on-chain meme coins, essentially, and kind of wondering if, you know, that's where some of this rotation is going. They're certainly trading like it. You know, bull breaks getting like double-digit percentages all the time. Obviously, you've got like some that are going 10, 20, 30x and whatnot. But yeah, just something to note and to keep an eye on as we kind of just track the health of the space. And, you know, the question is, now that these meme coins have gone 10,000% or whatever, does that mean that, the end is near and, that's like the final NFT push before everything blows up? Or is this potentially just the beginning? Nobody knows the answer to that question, but Lamont was on this call as well. And he was kind of bringing up the point that, during the NFT craze and during the ICO craze, it was a bunch of people who don't know about crypto, don't care about crypto, that were into the ICOs, into the NFTs. And at this point, we certainly do not have, normal people talking about the, cost coin for the Costco $1.50 hot dog or whatever it is. These are straight up meme coins, and the masses aren't talking about it yet. So I wouldn't necessarily say that the move is over, just because so often we will see social sentiment end up marking our pivots and whatnot. And we saw it a little bit with this Bitcoin top, but in terms of a full-on cycle, I would think if normal people start talking about base chain and how to get set up on there, then we've got to batten up the hatches. So that's kind of just like a little bit of something to keep an eye on, something to keep your mind on, and we'll see where it goes from here. So aside from all of that, our status quo remains on Bitcoin. As long as weekly 12 EMA and weekly uptrend is intact, then bulls are in control. So as far as like pegging, where is rotation going? Like, who are these traders over there? Are these all of the people that have been, now that the big KYC push has come after FTX and whatnot, that like the true crypto OGs who want nothing to do with KYC, so they're just on these, in the dredges of the crypto space? We won't really ever know that answer. So I don't try to like piece everything together step by step to know exactly what's going on. More so just try to keep my mind open and know where to be looking for, one, opportunity, and two, places to gauge health of the overall space. Let's go back to NQ here. Looks like I have stopped out. Bears keeping full on control. Definitely a sucker punch. Let me double check that I have stopped out. I have indeed. And we'll just leave that be there for now. If I was not streaming, I'd certainly continue to try to wrangle the bounce, just because as a bounce player, this is your jam. So hold on just a moment here. I've got to let my cat in. 1 second. Come on in, baby. Come on. Howdy, howdy. All right, I'm back. Maybe NQ trying to flush me out and then get the bounce going. Let's see what we got in here. Let's see. Theo says that 1 minute 12 EMA short was so nice. Yeah, definitely nice for a short-term trade, but I would be cautious of shorting in the hole. If you're trying to look for much follow-through, taking a trade like that. That's why I'm looking for the bounce, not looking for the short, because I think there's very, very high odds that anybody that shorted that 1 minute 12 EMA is underwater sooner than later, likely during this stream, but time will tell. And unfortunately, I might have gotten stopped out at the lows. We'll see though. Let's get back to crypto because this is a crypto stream. Maybe if we see a big 1 minute bounce on NQ, I would do a 1 minute higher low. But yeah, Bitcoin, 15 minute 12 EMA. Once we lose that, we're looking for some 4-hour consolidation. Lots of room for a 4-hour higher low. In general, I would anticipate that we stay tightening on here. I think bulls would need a lot of bull volume if they're going to blast through new highs, getting up and through 71.7K or 71.8K, we'll call it. So that's what we've got going on. Bitcoin, looking at ETH, it remains a bit weaker here. We do have the daily bounce underway, but not nearly as convincing. Lots of room for a daily lower high compared to 36.54. Got a 4-hour uptrend as our guide for the daily move, and got a 15-minute uptrend as the guide for the 4-hour move. Not as strong as Bitcoin. You can see how we've pushed below the EMA a little bit. We're back testing it now, whereas Bitcoin, much sturdier move to the upside. So that's Bitcoin, or ETH. Let's look at ETH BTC. Remains weak. Daily 12 EMA remains resistance. And as long as ETH BTC is weak, then Ethereum is going to underperform Bitcoin. And that just is what it is. We know bigger picture. We're in a key location with this quarterly tightening range. And if that breaks bear, we have to be cautious that it does what Matic BTC is doing, because that was a very similar setup. Very similar setup with the quarterly tightening range. Bulls tried to defend, then they gave up the bag, and it's been all relative bears on Matic since then. So again, I know everybody loves ETH, but until ETH BTC can come to life, then it is a stinker, and that just is what it is. That just is what it is. So looking at Litecoin here, I'm liking the 4-hour equilibrium. Pretty wide, but high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high set. And the direction this breaks will either send us into weekly consolidation and firmly confirm, it's a weird way to say that, but a rejection from 115, we'll call it. And then that'd be weekly consolidation. Anything over 76.96 would be a higher low. And that is that. Let's check in on LTC BTC. So dang, bulls are trying to get over weekly 12 EMA, but 3 days left on the week, and bears are bringing it back down. So what do we have here? Just a daily uptrend. We'll continue watching. So daily higher low support is 1404. If that were to be lost on LTC BTC, then that would further have us saying that we're continuing to reject from the weekly 12 EMA. And it can obviously get tough when you push that far over it, when it comes back down, because at the top there, it's sure looking like, oh, we got a big breakout on LTC BTC, but you got to see your candles close up and over to have confidence with that. Check back on NQ real quick. I just know I'm gonna miss this bounce streaming. I shouldn't have any FOMO though. I shouldn't have any FOMO. Set an alert there. Just curious. And I guess I could just hop back in with a smaller position size. There's not like really indication though. I think that would be my FOMO saying hop back in, not that like, oh, this is a good entry. We'll let it be. We'll leave some alerts and let it be. Leave some alerts and let it be. So on the note of sucker punches, obviously a big sucker punch. We've seen sucker punches before. But what needs to happen after the sucker punch is that the bears confirm a downtrend after. And for me, it will be the 4-hour that's most important. Definitely a sucker punch. If bears can confirm a 4-hour downtrend from here, that's when we say, all right, something's a good bit different at this point. And we know it will not be shocking to see monthly consolidation next time we see it in the broad market. And, I would normally say if that happens, then Bitcoin's likely to follow. But gosh dang, if it's not kind of going inverse on this action. If we look at when this dump started, it started picking up around 1:15 a little bit. 2 p.m. is when it really cranked up. If we look at Bitcoin, 1:45 it really cranked up, and yeah, I don't know, just unfazed. So we'll just go with the Bitcoin levels in general. It kind of correlates to the broad market, but not seeing any of this downside right now. Let's see what else we got. Sol. So Sol does have its weekly consolidation underway. We'll start there. We know bigger picture, weekly 12 EMA, weekly uptrend is our guide. Weekly stair step has been broken. And now the big question is, can bears confirm a daily downtrend from here? Or do bulls bounce big enough to regain the daily uptrend? So at this point, triple daily inside bar. I got a 4-hour EQ. Yeah, we can view it like that. High, low, lower high, higher low. Anything below 192 would be a lower high. And that is that. The direction this breaks will tell us, do we have a daily bounce underway? or is daily consolidation continuing deeper? Looking at SOL BTC, loss of the daily uptrend now. It was holding on better yesterday, but it's weakening now. Let's see. What do we want to use as a guide here? We'll just work off of the lows on SOL BTC. As long as that's support, then bulls are still in pretty much full control in terms of relative strength, but yeah, not a lot to glean there. What else we got? Pendle is absolutely popping here today. Daily bull flag confirmed. No 4-hour uptrend, just straight up 4-hour stair step. And, probably looking for a volume climax candle here sooner than later. Yeah, I would say so. We've got hourly RSI above 80. We've got 4-hour hitting overbought. 15 is like at 90. Good heavens, that might be all-time high. RSI on the 15 for Pendle. Yeah, we've got historic daily or historic 15-minute overbought. 5-minute is just grinding it. So it won't be surprising to see some pullback, but we'll be looking at backburners on this thing for sure. It's definitely the strongest alt that I'm looking at recently. Yeah, definitely outperforming everybody else. I mean, we got a nice green day out there, but no double-digit percentages anywhere except for TAO and Pendle, at least with what's on this list at this point. And for crypto to be doing this while the broad market is absolutely coming unglued, very, very impressive. Can't overstate that enough, to be honest. Let's check in on old INJ. It's still struggling. Still struggling. We're at this base of support. Bulls trying to defend it, but hardly getting on any offense. Daily bounce is technically underway, but got to get a 4-hour uptrend to be confident in follow through by getting back through 34.77. INJ BTC. Hold on a second. I'm looking at NQ. Do I do the 1-minute bottom fish? I think I'd prefer just one more break of the lows and then snap back up and get in on that. Yeah, let me get my broker ready, see if that presents itself. If we break this support and then snap back up, I'll take another crack. We'll take another crack. Wonder where we are in 5-minute. Oh, 5-minute RSI is just cooling off on this. 15-minute in the teens. What time we got? 2:54. Good amount of time left in the day. I mean, I would be astonished if we don't see some type of relief bounce before the end of the day, given that there's more than an hour left. Come on, bears. Give it one more push and then no more after that. All right, so there's the lower low. All right. Let's try it again. 5-point stop out. Might have to just leave it. Getting close to my day loser. Getting close to my day loser. All right, trying again. If this one doesn't work, I'll for sure pack it up. Could get risk-free on this attempt. Wonder if I should be doing that. All right, I just did that. I got risk-free. Put my stop below the low, see if this can stick. See if that can stick. Put my alert right there. Put that right there. We'll just freaking let this thing be. Now that it's risk-free, that this attempt as a whole is not risk-free because I took that first little 5-point stop. And I think, I don't know how much I bagged on this second one. 18,219 entry and 18,234 exit for half. So we'll just let that be. What else were we looking at? INJ. INJ, the struggler. So we're at a base of support. One of the main causes of a shift between relative strength and weakness is a support hold or a resistance hold. Watching to see if we can get that here, but as you all know from the streams, I've been watching for INJ relative strength to come in for a good bit here, but INJ BTC is not giving us the signal. So we know we're looking for a monthly higher low. We're testing monthly 12 EMA, and bulls got to get over daily 12 EMA as step one on INJ BTC for us to say, all right, the INJ rotation play is on. You know, when we got that SOL rotation play, we didn't, you know, we had the foresight to be looking for it, but we didn't have to be entering preemptively on it. It was when SOL BTC broke its daily EQ back here that we said, all right, the SOL rotation play is on, and that one ended up playing out really nice. So looking for it on INJ BTC, but there's been no go signs yet. We had a half go sign. We had a half go sign getting over the 2-day 12 EMA back here, but rejected from resistance. Couldn't get the show on the road. Very clear wall of resistance there, and bears just took right back over. So continuing to watch daily 12 EMA, and we need to get up and over that to start saying like, all right, I've got some interest now in INJ USD. Obviously, you can be doing just like a bottom fish or something like that, but you know, it depends how hands-on you want to be, what kind of size you want to use, all of that jazz. All of that jazz. Let's see, looking like NQ gonna stop me out, and that will for sure be last attempt on it. That will for sure be last attempt. Got my stop a little bit below the low. Maybe I want to have it fully break even. So I got 15 points. So I could go I'm gonna go fully break even on it because I mean, I don't know, it's a handful of bucks, and I don't want to have my stop like tight below that support. So that's why it's nice to get a little bit more than 1-to-1 if you can, but I typically don't force for that. But if you do, then you give yourself just a little bit more wiggle room for potentially what we're going to see live here of, you know, one more little pop before an actual bounce gets going. Not that there's any real sign of it yet, but there's no real point like holding on to 3 points or 4 points. Let's see, I did get stopped out. So we'll leave that be. We will officially leave that be. Let's look at FET. So FET is, what is FET doing? Let's look at our weekly. So we've got, maybe this is another 3-dayer actually. Yeah, we'll do the 3-day uptrend. We're testing 3-day 12 EMA, and bull's trying to get a bounce off of it. Daily bounce is underway. Got to get a 4-hour uptrend from here though. So 4-hour bounce big enough to create room for a 4-hour higher low compared to 251. And that is that. So let's see what we have as a guide for the 4-hour bounce. Maybe hourly uptrend. Yeah, I think we'll use the hourly uptrend. That would need to be lost to see 4-hour consolidation take place. Then bulls would be looking for that higher low. All right, anything else that I want to look at? I don't think so. I'm decently distracted right now, if y'all can't tell. I would not have scheduled this stream had I known this is what we've got going on. Had I known, I certainly would not have scheduled this stream here, but we scheduled it, we're going live, and we're here. Let's check back in on Bitcoin, then we'll see what y'all are looking at. So Bitcoin coming down, testing 15-minute 12 EMA. If that is lost, we'll be looking for some 4-hour consolidation to shape up. So kind of starting to see a little bit of the broad market downside, but I mean, I hesitate to even call it that because of how ginger it is in comparison. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen a broad market dump like this in a minute. What are we percentage off the top? 1.74% in a few hours, or a couple hours. On SPY, NASDAQ, probably more, 2.07. You know, someone was posting in the chart guys the other day, like how many days it's been since we've had a 2% red day. I think he posted that yesterday. Pretty timely. Pretty timely. Still think we're going to bounce here, but I can't keep futzing with it. All right. And in hindsight, Theo, that 1 minute 12 EMA short, definitely coming out better than the dip buyers for now. It's a solid, what, 60 points? Am I bad at math? No, that's 140 points. 144 points. Wowza. Definitely a nice short. Definitely a nice short. All right, Jahan Zeeb, what's up, brother? I'm doing decent. How are you? Can you please talk about a trade and why you took it? Yeah, hopefully this NQ one suffices for you. Basically, just extreme downside, looking to do small time frame positioning to get risk-free or close to it in an attempt to have a position for when the inevitable bounce comes. It's kind of a masochistic lifestyle, being a big dip buyer like this, but high risk, high reward, and when you get good at it, the reward outweighs the risk, but you don't get them all. It's the bummer about kind of how this is shaking out now, or I say the bummer, but maybe the blessing if we never do bounce, is kind of part of the mindset when you're like doing something like this is, one, you obviously don't want to go beyond your allotted risk. If you do that, then you're not doing your job right, because we want to never let that happen. So that's one thing you need to make sure. And then the other thing is to make sure that, like, if you're really committed to it, you kind of got to stay on the horse. You kind of got to stay on the horse. Like if you're using this style that I'm using, where it's like any one of these lows that I was able to get decent entries on, my conviction that that's like the low is super low. Or not super low, but it's not high, that's for sure. There's little conviction with that, but where the conviction lies is that I can get enough of a rebound bounce to get risk-free and then have a shot at it. So that's kind of the mindset with something like this. As far as other trades, guess we can talk. I had a ACB attempt today, which if y'all aren't checking out the MJ space, if you like volatility, MJ is popping. I mean, look at this chart. That is many percent, 212%. But yeah, I was looking for a 15-minute higher low here on ACB, scaled in on the 8 psychological flush. Only got one fill at 798. We'll zoom into it a little bit more. Got one fill at 798. Took some off at 810 on this bounce. Put my stop break even below the low. Stopped out. And then missed this bounce here. I had a 728 bid, but I chickened out because we were like kind of close to 5-minute oversold, and I was like, oh, I'll just wait for 5-minute oversold. So I moved it down like a dime or something like that and missed that. But I guess, oops, I forgot I had this right here. You know, to kind of talk about what we got going on here in the chart, guys. Where's that thread? You know, 165 posts in here of play-by-play with all the stuff people are watching and trading, and all the stuff is in here. I won't waste a ton of time. You can see Dan's entries and exits, all of that. You know, it's pretty sweet environment when we got volatility like this. But yeah, if you want proof, join the chart, guys, and look for my entries and exits in there. I'm not gonna waste the time on the stream for that. Crypto Baron, what up? Goes good. Andrew, I am here. Ryan V, right with the crickets. Yeah, very quiet start to the stream. Everybody's probably just looking at the broad market going, what the hell? What the hell? Another way you can play something like this without being such a degenerate is if you have something clear like 1 minute 12 EMA, you can wait for the bulls to get up and over the 1 minute 12 EMA and then fish that low and look for the trend change. So I call it an EMA rider play. If you go to our YouTube channel, there's a webinar. I think the EMA rider, I think I talk about it in the identifying most likely scenarios one. I think that's at the very end of that, more talk about the EMA rider. But it's a nice play to not, like if you are not into doing like buying into this fear, selling 45 seconds later, changing your stop, doing all that, that takes a lot of muscle memory of putting in orders and whatnot. So EMA rider, much chiller play, or like a larger time frame stair step. We got a 5 minute stair step at this point. You can just be like looking to size and take a position on the 5 minute stair step. So everybody's style is going to be a little bit different. I like to get in there. Yeah, bull strike cheetah. My cat is also on a very strict schedule. It's funny. We're both very like routine based individuals. So I've got my strict schedule. He's got his strict schedule. It's a good match. All right, Paul Gray asking what made me take that trade. Hopefully by the end of the stream, I'll be able to show you what made me take that trade. It's the extension to the downside that has me interested in a relief bounce. It's the 15-minute RSI in the teens. You could scroll back and look at this and see, how long do we stay down low on the RSI like this? You don't stay down there long. You usually get some type of spring back bounce. So that's what I was trying to position for. And as I said, I didn't have conviction that any one of my entries along the way was going to be the bottom. I just had conviction that, after you break a support short term or whatever, if you get a big flush candle like that, you usually get some type of rebound. And what I'll do is, if you imagine this as like the 5 second chart, on that flush, you'll have like this stair step down on like the 5 second time frame or something. And I basically just look, I basically just look for the slightest shift. And once we get that little shift there, I mark it in, and then I put my stop below the low and look for like a bit of a bounce up to sell half and get risk free. And the beauty of that is that on none of these attempts was my risk more than like 7 points or something like that. So it's more laborious, but if your risk is only 7 points, you can put on a lot more size than you can if you're gonna say take the 5 minute stair step from here. Your entry, your stop is like nearly 50 points away. So you have to use a lot less size and all of that. So I prefer to battle it out in the trenches on the smaller time frames, take multiple attempts to get something off the ground, as opposed to smaller size, larger time frame. And that's not always. It kind of depends what the context is, what I got going on in my life, what I got going on in my brain. But if I'm, feeling decent, I generally like to get in the trenches and try to get a much more substantial position off the ground size-wise. And that's the other thing I really like futures for is, there's a lot of liquidity where you can be marketing in and out as much as your heart desires for most people, and you don't even budge the tape. Don't even budge the tape. Let's see. What up, Revy? Let's see. Ryan says, impressed with BTC's strength after all those 4-hour wicks and funky price action the last few days. Been trading less and observing more. Sometimes it's nice to do less and get your head right. Definitely, man. As traders, I was in another trading group for a little bit. I forget what he said that you needed for any trade, but it was something like um, you need time, meaning you've got like time left in the day. You need the money, the capital. You need a pattern, which is your technical edge. And then the fourth one was your mental capital. I forget what word he called it, but he said, if you don't have all four, then don't take a trade. Our mental capital, as much as we want to trade like robots, we're humans. And that is what that is. And if we don't have the mental capital to perform our job right, it's one of the biggest strengths of being a self-employed trader is that you get to trade whenever you want. Like, I don't know if any of y'all follow Tori Trades. She trades like commodities futures primarily. And I think she just finished like her fourth trade of the year or something like that. She does more bigger size swing trades and absolutely is crushing these trades. And she's on 4 a year. In the last hour, or I guess less, like half hour, I've taken 4 trades. So everybody's going to have different styles. And yeah, nonetheless, taking a break when action isn't clear is a double whammy for you in terms of good stuff. Because if we look at the 15-minute on Bitcoin yesterday, and this stuff was trash. What do you do with this? It's a mess there. So if you don't have clarity, then it's very difficult to trade. And, who doesn't need a break from the charts when you got your head deep down in it for so long? That's awesome. What do I think about Mara? Let's see. Probably, yeah, Mara is correlating with the broad market at this point. And Mara is not looking good. Do we have monthly consolidation underway yet? We do not, but it is close. Back here, when we were talking about, if this ends up being a little higher high, weekly bull flag confirmed without follow through, we'll have to watch out for the potential of monthly consolidation. If bears confirm the weekly downtrend from here, that would be monthly consolidation. So they're trying to take out 1740 to get that done. Let's check on our volume profile because this thing has been banging it for a while here now. And you can see it still is. This value area high marked our low. POC, the high, value area low, the low, another POC rejection. You get below the value area low, reject, reject, reject. And now next target is this 1740 from bears. And we'll just be watching all of these levels on the way down. 1740, 1662, 1633, 1587, 1555, and then the lowest level we got 1458, which marked that bottom from back there. So miners are weak. Let's look at, I'm curious about CLSK actually, because that's been the clear lead bull. It's kind of coming undone. I bet if we look at CLSK Mara, we'll see that finally coming down. So still going to be looking for a weekly high or low on the ratio chart. But now how about Riot? Riot already confirmed the weekly downtrend. So that's a point against Mara bulls for sure. It remains weaker. And are we going to break out of this tightening range? Getting close. 964. So that is that. And let's look at Monster. I keep calling it Monster. It's not Monster. MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy, I don't know. Might have to watch out for a little bit of a head and shoulders here. Bears would have been more confident if we got a bit more pullback here. But we have not had a daily downtrend since back here. So January. It's been a daily uptrend since. We've lost the daily uptrend now. The question is, can bears confirm the daily downtrend to see weekly consolidation follow through or not? All right. I'm going to have to wrap it up somewhat soon, but we got a bit more time. Let's see, Paul, how much do I plan to make on each trade, min and max? Yeah, it varies a lot, man. I try to shoot for like $1,000. Um, but I'm running my risk a little different right now where I have my day loser, which is around that. And then I have my daily max loss, which is when I really got to stop trading. And I've got that set at $4,000 right now. And a really great day is like $4,000, but that doesn't happen all that often. I'm more of a, try to go for consistency and just keep plugging away every day with the day makers. But yeah, I'm no whale. We got people in the chart guys that, anything under 5 figures, they're just kind of like sneezing at, but that's not me. That's not me yet. I guarantee you I will be there, but still on the journey. When I joined the chart guys in 2018, I had like a $5,000 net worth. So have climbed out nicely from that, but still far from whale status. Let's see. Hort Stew, is Dan and any of the chart guys exiting some or all of no touch positions? If so, what's the exit criteria? No, Dan's no touch positions are no touch, so he's not exiting them. We've definitely had some people locking in some Bitcoin profits. Ryan V in chat here is one of them. I think he pretty much nailed the top on his scale outs with that. But I mean, it's going to be different from every person because you got to ask yourself, how protective do you want to be? And how much leash do you want to give it? The most protective bulls are looking to lock stuff in if we lose the weekly 12 EM, or yeah, I'd say weekly 12 EMA. If we lose that, the most protective bulls are looking to lock things in. More patient bulls are saying, or not patient, but the longer leash bulls are saying, well, we got a ton of room for a monthly high or low, and I'm gonna walk my stop on the monthly uptrend. So you would hope that you don't just bog back down here. You'd hope you'd get monthly consolidation and then something like that and have a closer level to be working with, because at this point, the monthly support's down at 25K. So it's going to differ from individual to individual. Obviously, your positioning and entry comes into play as well, because if you're holding from 3K, 4K on the COVID flush, then you probably don't mind riding back down to 25K or something like that. But if you bought at 60K or new all-time highs, then you're sweating up here. So definitely not a one-size-fits-all answer on that. But when you're evaluating for yourself, you need to just ask yourself the question, how protective do I want to be? How much of a leash do I want to give this? And recognize that if you give it a long leash, there is the potential that we end up just pulling on back very far. We could pull back 50%, and I wouldn't be shocked at all. So got to be prepared for that if you're going to be willing to ride that down. If you're not willing to ride it down, then you got to work your stop loss or partial profits. And that's the other thing, is you don't have to necessarily do all or nothing with your position. You could say, all right, this has been a great move, multiple 100% off of the low at 15K. I'm going to lock in half here. And, if you had gotten in, say, 30K, and then you lock in half at 70K, then, your average for that is negative 10,000. So then you're really comfy. You can pull back all the way to your entry, and you've still got all of that profit. So there's many ways to manage it. Just had to double check that my math was right. That felt weird to say that I think if we take off log, it makes it a little chiller to see that. If you're in at 30K, you sell half at 70, you're oh, I didn't mean to do that. Your break even then is freaking below zero. So that's a nice comfy place to be, because then if you do something like that, you can take the other half, put it in a cold wallet, and bury it in your yard and check on it in 2 decades. How timely are the chart guys trades posted in chat room? You know, it varies from individual to individual, but pretty timely. I mean, when I make an entry, I post within a minute. Dan's typically the same. Or we'll talk about where we're looking to enter ahead of time. But yeah, I mean, we can pull this back here, you know, like, let's see, I guess the MJ is the place for it. Man, this is going slow here. Where's Dan's first entry in here? Yeah, so in ACB 5-minute 12 EMA break even stop, that is posted at 11:42 ACB. Wow, that's crazy when you have the log turned off. Good heavens, what a turd. So looking at 11:42, that was this first dip here. So, you know, his entry is here. 11:42, he's making the post. You know, sells half, gets risk-free, stops out. No big deal. And that's why you stop out on something like that. But yeah, varying degrees of promptness with it. But, you know, Lamont posts almost instantly. I post almost instantly. Dan posts almost instantly. Greg, it's the question is, why would Mara drop 5% when Bitcoin's up almost 4%? It's because of the broad market. It's because of the broad market. And, you know, this is what the S&P 500 is doing. This is what the NASDAQ is doing. You know, it doesn't matter that Bitcoin's doing that, because these, you know, Mara is just a stock on the NASDAQ, like everything else that's on the NASDAQ. So it's going to have some correlation there without a doubt. Going to have correlation without a doubt. And I bet if one thing that's cool to do on TradingView, you can overlay tickers. So let's overlay NQ. Let's see, you always got to do new price scale. Same price scale kind of whacks it out. But new price scale, you can move these around a little bit. So these dashed lines are NQ. The regular candles are Mara, you know, bottom at the same point, top at the same point, bottom at the same point, top at the same point. You know, there's relative strength in Mara compared to the NASDAQ because Bitcoin's going up, but it's still heavily correlated here right now. Still heavily correlated. And it looks like that came in pretty promptly. It was at 2. What happened at 2? Everything shifted at 2. Is that when oil popped off? You know, if I'm like in the room, no, oil was a little bit before 2. Yeah, if I'm in the room, I'm definitely more on top of what's going on here, but yeah, crazy dump. Now, I want to talk about another play here. I'm not going to take it, and this is another one from the webinars. I call it the last man standing play. See how ES is going down to lower lows, NQ is going down to lower lows, RTY is in an equilibrium here. Actually, maybe I will take it. This is, give me a second. Basically, when you've got one name holding its supports while the others are going down to lower lows in extended conditions, you bottom fish the one that's holding support. And it basically makes it easier than what I was doing on NQ, you know, trying to really battle out within there, because this, it's like, all right, we know everything's crushed. We know we're looking for a bounce. We know we have relative strength on RTY. If RTY, or if the market gets any type of bounce underway, RTY is positioned well to see the strongest bounce. And the reason I call it a last man standing play is because, you know, everybody, you got 3 of your majors going to the lower lows, and then you have one that's still holding support. So I don't know, should be in. Keep it moving, cat. I haven't traded RTY in a second. I gotta get my crap situated. All right. I am in on RTY and just got to stop down below the low risk bottom fish in a last man standing setup. And again, do I have high conviction this is going to work out? No, I do not. I do not at all. But you know what? Less than 3 points risk. That is not bad. It's not bad. Very minimal in the scheme of things. Obviously, with futures, you can size to have as much risk as you want, but I'm not sizing into any of this stuff right now in a relative sense. So let's see. I got a little bit of wiggle room on the stop. Yeah, let's see how much money I can lose on the live stream in front of you guys. That's how it goes sometimes, though. That's how it goes sometimes. Holy moly, I'm in by a tick. There we go. Stopped out. Failed last man standing. All right. Back to YouTube. Back to YouTube. Let's see. Mind having a look at Pepe Coin, not Pepe? I don't know what I type in for Pepe Coin. Pepe Coin USDT. Is this it? Very low volume. Yeah, that's a tough trader. I'm assuming this is what you're looking at, and it's just a daily 12 EMA rider. Up in blue skies, bulls in full control. Daily higher low is set at 457.66, and definitely a lead bull in the space right now. So that's really it. There's not much more to say than that. When you've got an EMA rider like that, it keeps things nice and simple. Keeps things nice and simple. Let's look at the 4 hour. A little scraggly 4 hour uptrend. Anything over 527 going to be a 4 hour higher low next consolidation. And that's that. Tomato is money rotating from Bitcoin to gold and silver. I don't know. I don't know that I've really noticed anything like that. Let's take a look at the charts. See what the charts say. Yeah, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. If anything, they're kind of moving together to a degree. It's like Bitcoin, big move up, gold chilling, then gold gets its move up, and then Bitcoin, big move up, gold chilling, then gold gets its big move up, then gold down, then Bitcoin down. Yeah, they almost look a bit more correlated than anything else. You know, Dan has been watching the relationship between crypto and MJ. You know, I would imagine that there's a decent amount of crypto funds going over to MJ because, I mean, I'm telling you, these names, these are not investment vessels by any means, but CGC, 319%, a few weeks off the lows. ACB, you know, 219 or whatever that was. Tilray, solid move off the lows. And, you know, those are the Canadian ones because, ooh, I didn't see MSOS was getting smoked. Good heavens. MSOS getting smoked. That's just exactly the broad market pullback. We look at that. We look at ES. You know, it's the same thing. Absolute full-on bear control. Not the dip to try to buy at this point. That is for sure. And that's why we stop out. You know, let me see. Look at my broker, see what the damage is on the day. Yeah, I mean, not good. Not good by any means, but not bad when you consider that you just stop out, you take the L. Like anything that is like an amount that you can make back the next day, that's where you want to keep this stuff. You don't want to be like, oh wow, we're super extended, I'm going to start scaling in. Then you need a 200-point bounce to get back to break even, and you're taking massive heat. I will, I used to scale into most all of my dumps. That was my style, and the move to futures is ultimately what shifted my style to what it is now, more so of like getting in the trenches, doing the small time frame navigation, taking the little paper cuts, because if any one of these trades works out, then it more than makes up for the losses that I've had on the way down. And that's my approach with it now, as opposed to scaling. And a big part of that is what we've got going on now. I obviously thought a bounce was gonna start way sooner. I mean, right when we started the stream, what was that? That was here. That was my first bounce attempt, and that stop out is 264. We're over 100 points below that now. Obviously, in hindsight, wish I would have done. What's the guy's name again? Theo. Shorten the 1 minute lower high. Definitely the play to make. But it's one of those things that over time, and granted, the risk is equally as low for a 1 minute lower high as it is for, what I was playing there. But over time, if you're shorting when 15-minute RSI is in the teens, it's not going to work out for you over like a career of trading or a large series of trades. So that's why it's important to kind of just have a system and stick with it. Again, it's decently low risk if you wanted to short that and see if this could be like a true rug pull, which is what it has turned into at this point. But yeah, in hindsight, would have been a good lower high to short, that's for sure. Get rid of these alerts. All right. I think that's about all I've got. If y'all aren't subscribed to the channel, give us a go. Check it out. You might like it. If you don't, you can unsubscribe. If you haven't hit like, please hit the like button. It helps us out with the algos. We got 123 people in here, 57 likes. Bet we can get that up to 69 likes. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's check back in on Bitcoin. See, right off 15-minute 12 EMA. Beautiful as you like it. So yeah, Bitcoin definitely chilling, and we'll have to dig into the nuts and bolts of what's going on in the broad market, if this is fundamentally spurred or not, because that is probably the most epic dump maybe that we've seen. I'm trying to think. Oh, this was a pretty big one on March 5th. But yeah, at this point for the NASDAQ, weekly support coming in hot, monthly consolidation potentially shaping up. So I think Bitcoin will be hard pressed to shake that off if the broad market sees monthly consolidation. But the action today is telling us don't worry about that, worry about Bitcoin levels. So we'll keep an eye on Base Chain and Degen Chain and Soul Chain meme coins. I'm thinking about getting some skin in the game over there. I just don't know if I want to dedicate the bandwidth to learn all the new stuff. And I mean, it's sketchy. Like, you can't put stop losses. You basically just got to like click buy and sell. But lots of volatility. So I'm thinking about getting in there. And if I start doing that, then we'll cover those shit coins here on these streams for sure. All right. Hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed watching me lose money on the stream. I'm here every day. Can do that anytime. But next one hopefully will be better. Farewell. Take care. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Use a stop loss. And have a game plan. So, as we're talking about NQ, there's a bunch of people who have been buying tech up here. If we start dumping down, people are going to be scrambling. And then right when we get to the point that, Dan is reloading swings at daily oversold, people will be panicking out and selling. You don't want that to be you on Bitcoin. Obviously, it's holding on fine now. But obviously, we know we will see daily oversold conditions again. And they're far away from current prices. Currently below 50K. So have a game plan so that you're not like panicking and feeling the pain all the way down and then capitulating right when other people are coming in to buy. So have your game plan. Are you a weekly 12 EMA risk manager? Are you going to wait for a fresh monthly high or low? Are you looking to hold this to 2030 and you don't care what happens over the next few years? You've got to answer that question for yourself. And then if things pull back, you're not trying to figure out what you're doing, you're executing a plan. All right, goodbye for real. I will see y'all next time.